Prosecutor's going to put Mike Pence's record as head of the coronavirus task force on the stand. We heard that from her chief of staff just moments ago.
George, Kamala Harris's goal here tonight is to put Mike Pence, the head of the coronavirus task force, on defense. She is known for those fierce cross-examinations, those feisty exchanges during congressional hearings. And tonight she's going to try to argue the case that this administration is failing the American people in responding to this crisis. I'm told not to expect her to spend a lot of time fact-checking. Aides say her aim here is not to eviscerate Mike Pence, but to instead speak directly to the American people about how the Biden-Harris White House will be leading differently in this moment. This is a national stage like she has never been on before, and tonight she is going to be making history here. The first black woman, the first Indian American to ever debate for vice president. Regardless of politics, George, this is a huge moment for women, especially for young girls across this country.
That was dope. How she said black woman and then also said Indian, denoting that those are two different things, but also not trying to be slick with it. 9 times out of 10, she was told that she had to say black woman. I'm watching on ABC, by the way.
Right now, the country is up against an unprecedented pandemic, and Vice President Mike Pence is the head of the coronavirus task force.
So we're watching this shit tonight.
On defense tonight, he will have to defend the administration's handling of this pandemic. I'm told that he will largely focus.
All right, so before they come out there, let's do all of our shit first. All right. So the first thing that we want to do before they get up out there is we want to give appreciation to everybody that did it, that was in the saloon this morning. Copy? So let's do all that shit before they walk out here. And then we're going to talk about this shit. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody having a beautiful day. Let's do this shit. Shout out to Pandankery with the $20 drop. Shout out to Deontay Watts with the $5 drop. Hold on. Let's do these. Let's get all business out of the way real quick, and then we're gonna enjoy this shit. I turned it down. They're not out there yet. They just talking their shit. Shout out to Roach with the $5 drop. Shout out to Booksmart Street Smart with the $4.99 drop. Shout out to Booksmart Street Smart with the $4.99 drop. Shout out to James S with the $5 drop. Shout out to Sean Moore with the $9.99 drop. Shout out to DSTN. Ain't nobody calling you Dustin. I don't care what your wife says. With the $5 drop. And also shout out to, I think this is Al B with the $20 drop. I'm gonna turn this up so we can enjoy this shit in real time.
Vice President Mike Pence.
You know I'm calling everybody on their bullshit. You already know what it is. They put up fucking shields because these idiots in the White House is running around with the fucking coronavirus. What up, Home Team Network Live? How you doing tonight? What up, Michael Meeks? Who else we got up here? You ain't Wavy Deezy. Salute. What up, Booksmart Street Smart? Salute. M. Wade. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing good. My brother DSTN. Ain't nobody calling you Dustin. I don't care what your wife says. What up, Mark Hernandez? Who else we got up here? Nod Sings. We got Chef. I'm the biggest fool. Shout out to you. Shout out to Tyson Garcia. It's a Salute Frost, who getting hit with buckets and bags tonight. We already hit Chef with some bags. Can we get some bags? All of the bags, please. What up, K. Cole?
One note, no one in either campaign or at the commission or anywhere else has been told in advance what topics I'll raise or what questions I'll ask. This 90-minute debate will be divided into 9 segments of about 10 minutes.
What up, The Few?
I'll begin a segment by posing a question to each of you. Sometimes the same question, sometimes a different question on the same topic. You will then have 2 minutes to answer without interruption by me or the other candidate. Then we'll take 6 minutes or so to discuss the issue. At that point, although there will always be more to say, we'll move on to the next topic. We want a debate that is lively, but Americans also deserve a discussion that is civil. These are tumultuous times.
They throwing shots at Trump like crazy.
Respectful exchange about the big issues facing our nation. Let's begin with the ongoing pandemic that has cost our country.
Also, Pence is head of pandemic.
Senator Harris, the
He's the head of that
coronavirus
shit.
is not under control.
Over the past week, Johns Hopkins reports that 39 states have had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states have set new records. Even if a vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices. What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate to wear masks? You have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country.
Disagree.
And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the Vice President and the President were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne. And they knew what was happening and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th, as opposed to March 13th, what they knew, what you might have done to prepare?
That's a fact.
They knew and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine.
She hasn't answered the question yet, y'all.
That is the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on, and we need to save our country.
She hasn't answered the question.
Joe Biden is the best leader to do that, and frankly, this administration has forfeited their right to re-election.
She didn't answer the question. She didn't say what they were going to do.
More than 210,000 Americans have died of COVID-19 since February. The U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population is higher than that of almost every other wealthy nation on earth. For instance, our death rate is 2.5 times that of Canada next door. You head the administration's coronavirus task force.
Yeah, she curved that question.
Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than that of almost every other wealthy country? And you have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Susan, thank you. And I want to thank the Commission and the University of Utah for hosting this event. And Senator Harris, it's a privilege to be on the stage with you. And our nation has gone through a very challenging time this year. But I want the American people to know that from the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. Before there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China, President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done. And that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world.
He did do that.
Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision. He said it was xenophobic and hysterical. But I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force, that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery of billions of supplies so our doctors and nurses had the resources support they needed. And we began before the month of February was to develop a vaccine and to develop medicines and therapeutics that have been saving lives all along the way. And under President Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed, we believe we'll have literally tens of millions of doses of vaccine before the end of this year.
They denied Democratic states help.
The Biden plan, it reads an awful lot.
States that had Democratic governors, they denied them help.
Task Force have been doing every step of the way. I mean, quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. And I think the American people know that this is a president who has put the health of America first, and the American people, I believe with my heart, can be proud of the sacrifices they have made. It's saved countless American lives.
Senator Harris, would you like to respond?
Biden did say that they should have kept everything open for China.
Clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country.
A lot of people were dying and they were saying that it was the coronavirus and it wasn't.
And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force and knew on January 28th how serious this was. And then thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that was exposed,
she still hasn't answered the question, what would they do different?
Well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
No, but Susan, this is important. I want to ask, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
You can get 15 more seconds, and then we'll give the Vice President a chance to
So I want to ask the American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper? How calm were you?
We didn't even need toilet paper. Anybody had a toilet paper problem?
How calm were you when your children couldn't see your parents because you were afraid they could kill them?
Anybody had a toilet paper problem? What the fuck is she talking about?
You know, there's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every American family that's lost a loved one. And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers. But when you say what the American people have done over these last 8 months hasn't worked, that's a great disservice to the sacrifices the American people have made. The reality, if I may finish there, the reality is Dr. Fauci said everything that he told the president in the Oval Office, the president told the American people. And President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence that we'd get through this together. But when you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March, they said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. And that's the reality.
Thank you.
They also said to us if we did everything right, Susan, we could still lose more than 200,000 Americans.
Vice President
Now, one life lost is too many, Susan. But the American people, I believe, deserve credit for the sacrifices that they have made, putting the health of their family and their neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first
Thank you, Vice
responders.
President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up on behalf of what the American
They
people
set him up to win with that question because Kamala Harris didn't answer the beginning of that question the right way. She was supposed to say what they were going to do different.
No social distancing.
She never said it.
Few masks, and now a cluster of coronavirus cases among those who were there. How can you expect Americans to follow the administration's safety guidelines to protect themselves from COVID when you at the White House have not been doing so?
Well, the American people have demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing to put the health of their families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first. President Trump and I have great confidence in the American people.
Calling all drops out
and their
after.
ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,500 Americans a day, we surged resources to New Jersey and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told
Cash
the
App.
American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. A vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice President.
But I don't got a plan. They asked Kamala Harris what the plan was. She had no answer.
My wife Karen and I were there.
We don't need to hear this guy answer this shit. Obviously, they can't keep the people in the White House from getting the coronavirus.
And it was an outbreak.
What the fuck?
All of our scientists regularly and routinely advise. The difference here is President Trump and I trust the American people to make choices in the best interest of their health. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus, but a government takeover of healthcare,
Thank
the
you,
Green New Deal, all government control. We're about freedom and respecting the freedom of the American people.
Let's talk about respecting the American people. You respect the American people when you tell them the truth. You respect the American people when you have the courage
Which we've
to be a
always
leader,
done.
speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear, but they need to hear so they can protect themselves. But this administration stood on information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker known you didn't have enough money saved up, and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people.
Good point.
So let's talk about caring about the American people. The American people have sacrificed far too much because of the incompetence of this administration. It is asking too much of the people.
Susan, we talked about
It is
this.
asking too much of the people. That they would not be equipped with the information they need to help themselves to protect
Susan,
their parents
President-
and their
I'm sorry.
children.
Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I'm sorry.
That's fine, I'm Kamala.
No, Senator Harris to me. For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say that most of the people who can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it, absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
There have been a lot of repercussions from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job
That's
that
good.
you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president. One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the
Kamala
oldest
wins that by
president
default.
the United
She
States
didn't
has
answer
ever
shit,
had.
though.
Donald
She
Trump
wins by
will be
default, though.
74 years old on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden will be 78 years old. That already has raised concerns among some voters, concerns that have been sharpened by President Trump's hospitalization in recent days. Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without.
What was I telling y'all? Them niggas is
Susan,
old.
Thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on
Well,
to the
thank
issue
you,
of
but I would like to go
vice
back,
presidency.
because the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in
What
less
up, world
than a year.
famous?
We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year. And it will have the capacity to save countless American lives, and your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is just, it's just unacceptable. And let me also
Oh, I'm not
say,
taking a vaccine. They can
the
eat dick.
reality is, when you talk about failure in this administration, we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus, in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that. They left the strategic national stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan, but we
Thank you,
still
Vice
learned
President
from it. And I think the
Vice President
American
Pence, your
people,
time is
I'm going
up.
to say again, can be
Vice
proud
President Pence, I'm
of
sorry,
what
your time
we have
is up.
done. And Senator, please
Thank you, Vice
stop
President
undermining
Pence.
confidence in a vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked
Sure.
Vice President Pence, which is, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call, asking me to serve with him on this ticket was probably one of the most memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother, who came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25 at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California. And the thought that I'd be sitting here right now, I know would make her proud, and she must be looking down on this. Joe and I were raised in a very similar way.
She's not answering the question.
About hard work, about the value and the dignity of public service, and about the importance of fighting for the dignity of all people. And I think Joe asked me to serve with him because, I have a career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco, where I created models of innovation for law enforcement in terms of reform of the criminal justice system. I was elected the first woman of color and black woman to be elected Attorney General of the state of California, where I ran the second largest Department of Justice in the United States.
That put black people away.
Second only to the United States Department of Justice. And there I
That destroyed black families.
Transnational criminal organizations.
Destroyed black families.
Taking advantage of homeowners, to for-profit colleges that were taking advantage of veterans. And then, of course, now I serve in the United States Senate as only the second black woman ever elected to the United States Senate. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee, where I've been in regular receipt of classified information about threats to our nation and hotspots around
They
the world.
asked, though, is there a plan if something happens to the president?
And I think Joe has asked me to serve with him.
This is why I don't like her. She has not answered one question yet.
Which is about lifting up the American people. And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released a sort of detailed health information that had become the modern.
She didn't answer shit.
2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers or refused to answer basic questions about his health. And my question to each of you in turn is,
she ain't answer nothing.
Information voters.
I don't like this moderator. This moderator ain't shit.
President Pence, would you like to go first?
Well, Susan, thank you. And let me say,
Pence is actually answering questions, by the way.
And the First Lady, how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the president. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the president received at Walter Reed Hospital,
she's crazy.
Health doctors was exceptional. And the transparency that they practiced all along the way will continue. The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being of their president, and will continue to do that. But I'm just extremely grateful and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call.
She on that OG product.
Your nomination. I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling. But the reality is, we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year, and the stakes have never been higher. I think the choice has never been clearer.
I want to give Senator Harris a chance to respond to the same question I asked, which is, do voters have a right to know more detailed health information?
Let's see if she answers this one.
And especially about presidents, especially when they're facing some kind of challenge.
Absolutely, and that's why Joe Biden has been so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast, the president has not, both in terms of health records, but also let's look at taxes. We now know, because of great investigative journalism, that Donald Trump paid $750.
What the fuck does that got to do with the president? Health. Can somebody please tell me what Donald Trump's taxes has to do with the president's health?
$50. We now know Donald Trump owes and is in debt $400 million. And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the President's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you, or self-interest? So, Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency, because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many.
This is supposed to be talking about the health.
The one thing we all
It's supposed to
know
be.
about Joe,
She's supposed to be talking about Joe Biden's health
he is
and Donald Trump's health, and how important it is for them to be transparent about their health with the American people. That's what the question was.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your public service as well.
Thank you.
The American people have a president who's a businessman, a job creator, who's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you,
and turned this economy around by cutting.
She got longer to speak to him.
Thank you, Vice President.
They cut him short.
Free and fair trade, and all of that's
Thank
on
you,
the
Vice
line
President.
if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a
Very
good
much.
segue into our third topic, which is
They
about the economy.
could we just
This has been another aspect
could we
of
just
our
admit that Kamala Harris has not answered one question? She turns every single question into why people should hate Trump.
Unemployment rate.
This is why I'm telling you I can't vote for Biden.
Job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged.
But Trump was literally debating Biden. What the fuck? Yo, what up, Darren McKinnon?
Latinos, blacks, and women. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Some economists warn that could curb.
You don't even understand what I'm saying, DSTN. I don't want to talk over them, but you're wrong.
Would raising taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
Thank you. On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump
You're
and
wrong.
Joe Biden.
I can't explain right now.
Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why he passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations of America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for. On day one, Joe Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what
Okay.
he'll do with the money,
She answered the question.
in the American people. And through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about some infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in
She answered the question.
about upgrading our roads and bridges, but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy. Joe is going to invest that money in what we need to do around innovation. There was a time when our country believed in science.
A half an hour into the show.
Invested in research and development so that we were an innovation leader on the globe. Joe Biden will use that money to invest in education. So, for example, for folks who want to go to a 2-year community college, it will be free. If you come from a family that makes less than
Answer the question.
$125,000, you'll go to a public university for free. And across the board, we'll make sure that if you have student loan debt, it's cut by $10,000. That's how Joe Biden thinks about the economy, which is it's about investing in the people.
Then I only own about $12,000. Shout out to that shit. They're not gonna do that.
Corporations go offshore to do
Yo, you see how she leaned to the side like I'm doing right now? She just,
Vice President Pence, your administration.
I'm a spirit animal. This is not a debate. It's a blame game. That's a fact.
But the latest economic report suggests that's not happening. Should Americans be braced for an economic comeback that is going to take not months, but a year or more? You have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
When President Trump and I took office, America had gone through the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. It was when Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy. President Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of four had $2,000 in savings in taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hard-working Americans, the average household income for a family of four increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. It's really remarkable to think. I mean, right after a time where we're going through a pandemic that lost 22 million jobs at the height, we've already added back 11.6 million jobs because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families, save 50 million jobs through the Paycheck Protection Program. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion.
Kamala Harris should be able to kill him right now. If she knows as much about what happened as I do, she should murder him. She's a senator. She should know. That's what she says.
It cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs all across the heartland. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China. That when we took office, half of our international trade deficit was with China alone.
That's a
Joe
fact.
Biden wants to repeal all of the tariffs that President Trump put into effect to fight for American jobs and American workers. Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot with 4 more years of growth and opportunity, 4 more years of President Donald Trump.
She got 2 minutes.
2021 is going to be the biggest economic year in the history of this country.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
Yeah, he is being more
Senator
respectful.
Harris.
Well, I mean, we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a
He said he's
year.
going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait,
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
that is
that's the math.
absolutely not true. That
Is he
has
only
the-
is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden is the one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act that brought America back, and now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's success for the economy that they had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the economy is a complete disaster, but Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression. On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to over 20 million Americans and protected people with pre-existing conditions. And what it also did is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which means that you will lose protections if you have pre-existing conditions. And this is very important, Susan.
Yes.
And it's
we need to get Vice President.
He interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please.
That's fair.
If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you. If you love someone who has a pre-existing condition,
That's a fact.
they're coming for you. If you are under the age of 26 on your parents' coverage, They're coming for you.
Senator Harris, thank you.
You're
Let me
welcome.
give you a chance to respond.
Well, I hope we have a chance to talk about health care because Obama
She
said
should have
he
talked
protects
about where the fucking
the American
$4 trillion
people as
went.
well.
Because the $4 trillion that was supposed to go to the poor
improve
people
healthcare
or
and
to the middle class
protect
didn't go there. Most of that money went to the
every-
rich people. That's what she should have talked about.
Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking. Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuels. They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. More taxes, more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President Pence. Once again,
He didn't get 2
a
minutes.
perfect segue to a new topic.
He didn't get 2 minutes.
And Vice President Pence, I'd like to pose the first question to you. This year we've seen record-setting hurricanes in the south. Another one, Hurricane Delta, is now threatening the Gulf. And we have seen record-setting wildfires in the west.
She was supposed to talk about where that trillions of dollars that they were supposed to be sending to people was.
The man-made climate change has made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly, and have made hurricanes wetter, slower, and more damaging. You have 2 minutes.
She never brought it up.
Thank you, Susan. Well, first, I'm very proud of our record on the environment and on conservation. According to all of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever recorded. And our water
Except for the corona.
And just a little while ago, the president signed the Outdoors Act. It's the largest investment in our public lands and public parks in 100 years. So President Trump has made a commitment to conservation for the environment. Now, with regard to climate change, the climate is changing. But the issue is, what's the cause and what do we do about it? And President Trump has made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal, which would crush American energy, would increase the energy costs of American families in their homes, and literally would crush American jobs. And President Trump and I believe that the progress that we have made in a cleaner environment has been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States has reduced CO2 more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done it through innovation. And we've done it through natural gas and fracking, which, Senator, the American people can go look at the record. I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment. With regard to wildfires, President Trump and I believe that forest management has to be front and center, and even Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've got to work on forest management. And with regard to hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually as difficult as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes
2
today
minutes. They
than
gave him
there
2
were
minutes.
100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate alarmists
President,
use
that's very
hurricanes
kind.
and wildfire to try and sell
Thank you,
the
Vice
bill of
President.
goods of a Green New Deal. And President Trump and I are going to always put
Thank you.
Could I get somebody to remember all of the questions, please, so we could go after this shit after the
Vice
fact?
President mentioned you co-sponsored the Green New Deal in Congress. But Vice President Biden said in last week's debate that he does not support the Green New Deal. But if you look at the Biden-Harris campaign website, it
Air is
describes
not
the
clean.
Green New Deal as a crucial framework.
How you gonna say the air clean? We got
What would be
corona.
the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact. I will repeat that Joe Biden has been very clear that he thinks about growing jobs, which is why he will not increase taxes for anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. Joe Biden's economic plan, Moody's, which is a reputable Wall Street firm, has said will create 7 million more jobs than Donald Trump's. And part of those jobs that will be created by Joe Biden are going to be about clean energy and renewable energy. Because you see,
Penn shook his head, yes.
understands that the west coast of our country is burning, including my home state of California. Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states, which are being battered by storms. Joe has seen and talked with the farmers in Iowa, whose entire crops have been destroyed because of floods. And so Joe believes, again, in science. I'll tell you something, Susan. I served, when I first got to the Senate, on the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know this administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change off the website?
They did that.
We have seen a pattern with this administration, which is they don't believe in science. And Joe's plan is about saying we're going to deal with it, but we're also going to create jobs. Donald Trump, when asked about the wildfires in California, and the question was, you know, the science is telling us this, you know what Donald Trump said? Science doesn't know. So let's talk about who is prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve net zero emissions by 2050, carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan. This has been a lot of talk from the Trump administration, and really it has been to go backward instead of forward.
Has she ever said what any of these plans are, or is she just saying that they have a plan? No, they can't stop a damn hurricane. What the fuck?
Do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
At least Trump had a plan. It was a terrible plan. But at least Trump had a plan. He had a terrible plan. We don't want to drop a nuke on a hurricane. We can't let him do that. We got to get him out of office. But I mean, God damn it, these people.
Biden said twice in the debate last week that on day one he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief to the average family of four across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look, the American people have always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through American innovation and the development of natural gas through fracking. We don't need a massive $2 trillion Green New Deal that would impose all new mandates on American businesses and American families.
Thank you.
Joe Biden wants us to retrofit 4 million American business buildings. It makes no sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump.
They didn't give him 2 minutes.
First, he's going to put jobs first, and we're going to take care of our environment and follow the science.
I started a tiny bit late, but look, they didn't give him 2 minutes.
The vice president earlier referred to, as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment, the president's trade war with China. You lost that trade war. You lost it. What ended up happening?
I heard somebody laugh in the background.
The so-called trade war with China, America lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been,
also because of
there
COVID.
are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration. And the American people know what I'm talking about. You know, I think about 20-year-olds. You know, we have a 20-year-old, 20-something-year-old, who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job there for me?
That's always been a question.
Trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent by the end of the month. Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent.
These are problems that's been going on since
This is where
forever.
the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
There's always gonna be people that's gonna be worried about paying their fucking rent.
15 seconds to respond because then I want to move on to.
Well, I'd love to respond.
Okay, they didn't give her 2
We
minutes
lost
either.
the
Shout out to that.
trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for communist China through over the last several decades. And again, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs, and President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years after we cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000 manufacturing jobs created.
You are entitled to your own opinion. You are not entitled to your own facts.
Thank you, Vice
This
President.
pandemic, the
Listen.
Green New
Thank you,
Deal, your
Vice
massive
President
new
Pence.
mandates, your Paris Climate Accord.
I'm making that right now, by the way. I'm making the artwork for that right now as we talk. Hold on, I gotta make sure I put this shit down before I forget it.
Thank you. Joe Biden is responsible for saving America's auto industry, and you voted against it. So let's set the record straight. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about China. We have, as our next topic, we have no more complicated or consequential foreign relationship than the one with China. It is a huge market for American agricultural goods. It's a potential partner in dealing with climate change in North Korea. And in a video tonight, President Trump again blamed it for the coronavirus, saying China will pay. Vice President Pence, how would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Competitors, adversaries, enemies? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Susan. Well, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can. You know, everybody knows that NAFTA cost literally thousands of American factories to close. We saw automotive jobs go south of the border. President Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know. Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA. It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers, especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough on climate change, that you put your radical environmental agenda ahead of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. The American people deserve to know that. It's probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019. More liberal than Bernie Sanders, more liberal than any of the others in the United States Senate. So now with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus. And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear, made it clear again today. China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people. They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump, in dealing with China from the outset of this administration, standing up to China that had been taking advantage of America for decades in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China, President Trump made that decision before the end of January to suspend all travel from China. And again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from China. He said it was hysterical. He said it
Thank
was
you, Vice
xenophobic.
President Pence.
But President Trump has
Vice
stood
President
up
Pence,
to
your time
China.
is up.
We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
We want to improve the relationship, but we're going to level the playing field, and we're going to hold
Vice President
China
Pence.
accountable for what they did to America with the coronavirus.
Thank you. Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked the Vice President. How would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we competitors, adversaries, enemies? You'll have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Susan, the Trump administration's perspective and approach to China has resulted in the loss of American lives, American jobs, and America's standing. There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden. For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics. They got rid of it.
Not true.
There was a team of disease experts that President Obama and Vice President Biden dispatched to China to monitor what is now predictable and what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives. Let's look at the job situation. We mentioned before the trade deal, the trade war, they wanted to call it, with China. It resulted in the loss of over 300 manufacturing jobs and a manufacturing recession, and the American consumer paying thousands of dollars more for goods because of that failed war that they called it. Then let's talk about standing. Pew, a reputable research firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, than they do Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. This is where we are today because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
Senator Harris, we've seen changes in the role of the United States in terms of global leadership over the past 4 years. And of course, times do change. What's your definition? We've seen strains with China, of course, as the Vice President mentioned. We've seen strains with our traditional allies in NATO and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
So, Joe is, I love talking with Joe about a lot of these issues. And, Joe, I think he said it quite well. He says, foreign policy might sound complicated, but really it's relationships. So just think about it as relationships. And so we know this in our personal and professional relationships. You got to keep your word to your friends. Got to be loyal to your friends. People who've stood with you, got to stand with them.
Facts.
You got to know who your adversaries are.
Facts.
And keep them in check.
Facts.
But what we have seen with Donald Trump is that he has betrayed our friends and embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example, Russia. So, Russia, I serve on the Intelligence Committee of the United States Senate. America's intelligence community told us Russia interfered in the election of the President of the United States in 2016 and is playing in 2020. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, said the same. But Donald Trump, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America, prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the American intelligence community. You look at our friends at NATO. He has walked away from agreements. You can look at the Iran nuclear deal, which now has put us in a position where we are less safe because they are building up what might end up being a significant nuclear arsenal. We were in that deal, guys. We were in the Iran nuclear deal with friends, with allies around the country. And because of Donald Trump's unilateral approach to foreign policy, coupled with his isolationism, he pulled us out and has made America less safe. So, Susan, it's about relationships. And the thing that has always been part of the strength of our nation, in addition to our great military, has been that we keep our word. But Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't understand what it means to be honest.
Thank you, Senator Harris.
She just called the president a whole liar.
Well, thank you.
I mean, we know he lied,
Trump
but
kept
that's
his
what she
word
just
when he
did.
moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel. When Joe Biden was vice president, they promised to do that and they never did. We've stood strong with our allies, but we've been demanding. NATO is now contributing more to our common defense than ever before, thanks to President Trump's leadership. We've strengthened our alliances across the Asia-Pacific, and we've stood strong against those who would do us harm. When President Trump came into office, ISIS had captured an area of the Middle East the size of Pennsylvania. But President Trump unleashed the American military, and our armed forces destroyed the ISIS caliphate and took down their leader al-Baghdadi without one American casualty. Al-Baghdadi was responsible for the death of thousands. But notably, America's hearts today are with the family of Kayla Mueller, the parents of which are here with us tonight in Salt Lake City. Today, 2 of the ISIS killers responsible for Kayla Mueller's murder were brought to justice in the United States. Jihadi John was killed on the battlefield along with the other Beetle. The reality is that when Joe Biden was vice president, we had an opportunity to save Kayla Mueller. It breaks my heart to reflect on it, but the military came into the Oval Office, presented a plan. They said they knew where Kayla was. Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a month. And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved 2 days earlier. And her family says with a heart that broke the heart of every American that if President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
Look,
President.
we destroyed the ISIS caliphate. And you talk about re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. When the last administration transferred $1.8 billion to the leading state sponsor
Thank you, Vice
of
President.
terrorism, President Donald Trump got us out of the
Thank
deal.
you, Vice President Pence.
And when Qasem Soleimani was traveling to Baghdad
Thank you,
to do
Vice
harm
President
to Americans, President Donald Trump took
Thank you,
him
Vice
out.
President Pence.
And America is safer, our allies are safer, and the American people know President Donald Trump will never have
Thank you, Vice President.
to take action.
I would like to give Senator Harris a chance to respond, but not at this statement, because of course there are other topics we want to talk about.
But I would like equal time.
Yes,
Thank you.
please go ahead.
First of all, to the Mueller family, I know about your daughter's case, and I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. What happened to her is awful, and it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way. And I know that President Obama feels the same way. But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there. So after the strike on Soleimani, there was a counter strike on our troops in Iraq. And they suffered serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as? Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's, where he has referred to our men who are serving in our military as suckers and losers.
All she does is deflect.
Who went to
Is it
Army
me or is all she
Corps
does is deflect? Is it me or is that all she doing? Like this is her political. She's not really discussing nothing. She's just deflecting. And the fucking moderator's terrible.
What's in it for them? Because of course, you know, he only thinks about what's in it for him. Let's take what he said about John McCain, a great American hero. And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And this is very important when you want to talk about who is the current commander-in-chief and what they care about and what they don't care about. Public reporting that Russia had bounties on the heads of American soldiers. And you know what a bounty is? It's somebody puts a price on your head and they will pay it if you are killed. And Donald Trump had talked at least 6 times to Vladimir Putin and never brought up the subject. Joe Biden would never do that. Joe Biden would, but Joe Biden would hold Russia to account for any threat to our nation's security or to our troops who are sacrificing their lives for the sake of our democracy and our safety.
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is such an important issue, but we have other important issues.
Is it me? Can we have a vote real quick?
I really have to respond.
First, can we have a vote? Who thinks that Kamala Harris
Well, I gotta have
is freaking deflecting instead of answering? You think Kamala Harris is deflecting? You think Kamala Harris is answering? Can we have a vote real quick?
Are absurd.
I'm sorry, Vice
My son
President
is
Pence.
a captain in the United States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can assure all of you, with sons and daughters serving in our military, President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous. Let
Thank
me
you,
also
Vice
say,
President Pence.
the American people deserve, Susan, the American people deserve to know.
Vice President Pence, I did not, excuse me,
Susan, the
I did
American
not
people
create
deserve
the
to know.
rules for tonight.
Joe Biden.
Your campaigns agreed to the rules for tonight's debate with the Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to both of you, which is what I'm trying very hard to do.
Go right ahead.
So I want to go ahead and move to the next topic, which is an important one, as the last topic was, and that is the Supreme Court. On Monday, the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to open hearings on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the committee. Her confirmation would
moderated
cement the
terrible.
court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling. Access to abortion would then be up to the states. Vice President Pence, you're the former governor of Indiana. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before. The American people deserve to know Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds of American service members. When the opportunity came, we saw him headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate, and Qasem Soleimani is gone. But you deserve to know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually criticized the decision to take out Qasem Soleimani. It's really inexplicable, but with regard to Joe Biden, it's explainable. Because history records that Joe Biden actually opposed the raid against Osama bin Laden. It's absolutely essential that we have a commander-in-chief who will not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members, and that's what you have in President Donald Trump. Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United States, let me say President Trump and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity to see Judge Amy Coney Barrett become Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Now, she's a brilliant woman, and she will bring a lifetime of experience and a sizable American family to the Supreme Court of the United States. And our hope is, in the hearing next week, unlike Justice Kavanaugh received with treatment from you and others, but we hope she gets a fair hearing. And we particularly hope that we don't see the kind of attacks on her Christian faith that we saw before. And the Democrat chairman of the Judiciary Committee before, when Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals, expressed concern that the dogma of her faith lived loudly in her. The Big of Illinois said that
Him blowing that whistle?
Senator, I know
He blew 2 whistles.
you actually attacked
Service and Christians in the same damn answer
Columbus holds pro-life views. And
without deflecting.
so my hope is that when the hearing takes place,
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
that Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be respected,
Thank you,
treated
Vice President
respectfully,
Pence.
voted and confirmed
Thank
to the
you.
Supreme Court of the United States.
Senator Harris, you're
I hate
a senator
Beatz.
from and former Attorney General
God
of California.
dang it.
So let me ask you a parallel question to the
That's how you debate.
Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion? And you have 2 minutes.
And we already know abortion is used mainly to keep the black population and minorities population down.
And it's insulting to suggest that we would knock anyone for their faith. And in fact, Joe, if elected, will be only the second practicing Catholic as President of the United States. On the issue of this nomination,
That was very good,
Joe
Kamala
and I are
Harris.
very clear. As are
That was a nice
the American
recovery.
people. We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And, you know, before, when this conversation has come up, you know, it's been about election year or election time. We're literally in an election. Over 4 million people have voted. People are in the process of voting right now. And so Joe has been very clear, as the American people are. Let the American people fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that seat on the United States Supreme Court. And to your point, Susan, the issues before us couldn't be more serious. There's the issue of choice, and I will always fight for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump. And And the Vice President, Michael Pence.
Abortions and all of that shit was made to keep our population down.
Like,
Please
literally
understand
in the
this.
midst of a public health
You know how many of
pandemic,
us were not planned?
when over 210,000
Think
people
about
have
that.
died and 7 million
Think about how
people
many of us were not
probably
planned.
have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus. Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And I said it before, and it bears repeating. This means that there will be no more protections if they win for people with pre-existing conditions. This means that over 20 million people will lose your coverage. It means that if you're under the age of 26, you can't stay on your parents' coverage anymore. And here's the thing. The contrast couldn't be more clear. They're trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Joe Biden is saying, let's expand coverage. Let's give you a choice of a public option.
She's saying you can't be on your parents' coverage if you're under 26? That don't make sense. So if you're 4 years old, you can't be on your parents' coverage. But if you're 27 years old, you can?
Earlier,
Is she saying that right?
the president was committed to maintaining protections, so that he's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has not explained how he would do that. And that was one of the toughest nuts to crack when they were passing the Affordable Care Act. So tell us specifically, how would your administration protect Americans with pre-existing conditions to have access to affordable insurance if the Affordable Care Act is struck down?
Well, thank you, Susan, but let me just say, addressing your very first question, I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it. And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Late-term abortion. They want to increase funding to Planned Parenthood of America. Now, for our part, I would never presume how Judge Amy Coney Barrett would rule on the Supreme Court of the United States, but we'll continue to stand strong for the right to life. When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed at the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864...
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Deflecting again.
In 1864, one of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume of you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election. And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land. And so Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision.
A lot of presidents
about
have
who will serve on
did-
this most
did
important
what
body
Trump is trying
for
to
a
do.
lifetime.
Whether you like it or not, it's
Senator
practice.
Harris and Susan are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about packing.
You once
Come on.
again gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
The
now.
American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election. Men and women, I got to tell you, people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by that separation of powers in a 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about the
Please.
fact. Yeah, I'm about to. So, the Trump-Pence administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I have witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal.
Mm-hmm.
People who are purely ideological, people who have been
That's a
reviewed
fact.
by legal professional organizations and found
That's a
to
fact.
be not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to
Alberta says she voted for Maxine Waters.
All right, thank you, Senator. Let's go on and talk about the issue of racial justice.
I just want the record to reflect she never answered the question.
Never answered the question, and she started off the debates talking about honesty.
Thank you, Vice President. In March, Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency room technician in Louisville, was shot and killed after police officers executing a search warrant in a narcotics investigation broke into her apartment. The police said they identified themselves. Taylor's boyfriend said he didn't hear them do that. He used a gun registered to him to fire a shot, which wounded an officer. The officer then fired more than 20 rounds into the apartment. They say they were acting.
The shot he fired, they proved actually wasn't the shot that hit the officer. He shot the floor.
Senator
This is a
Harris,
terrible.
in the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes.
I don't believe so. And I've talked with Breonna's mother, Tamika Palmer, and her family. And her family deserves justice. She was a beautiful young woman. She had as her life goal to become a nurse, and she wanted to become an EMT to first learn what's going on out on the street, so she could then become a nurse and save lives. And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently. And it brings me to, you know, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds that America witnessed, during which an American man was tortured and killed under the knee of an armed, uniformed police officer. And people around our country, of every race, of every age, of every...
She's not answering the questions.
Perfect strangers to each other, marched shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm.
She's answering this one.
For us to finally achieve that ideal of equal justice under law. And I was a part of those peaceful protests. And I believe strongly that, first of all, we are never going to condone violence, but we always must fight for the values that we hold dear, including the fight to achieve our ideals. And that's why Joe Biden and I have said on this subject, look, and I'm a former career prosecutor. I know what I'm talking about. Bad cops are bad for good cops. We need reform of our policing in America and our criminal justice system, which is why Joe and I will immediately ban chokeholds and carotid holds. George would be alive today if we did that. We will require a national registry for police officers who break the law. We will, on the issue of criminal justice reform, get rid of private prisons and cash bail, and we will decriminalize marijuana. And we will expunge the records of those who have been convicted of marijuana. This is a time for leadership on a tragic issue of unarmed black people in America.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me pose the same question to you. In the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, our heart breaks for the loss of any innocent American life. And the family of Breonna Taylor has our sympathies. But I trust our justice system, a grand jury that refused the evidence. And it really is remarkable that as a former prosecutor, you would assume that an impaneled grand jury looking at all the evidence got it wrong. But you're entitled to your opinion, Senator. I think, with regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. And justice will be served. But there's also no excuse for the rioting and looting that followed. I mean, it really is astonishing. Flora Westbrook is with us here tonight in Salt Lake City. Just a few weeks ago, I stood at what used to be her salon. Was burned to the ground by rioters and looters. And Flora is still trying to put her life back together. And I must tell you, this presumption that you hear consistently from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that America is systemically racist. And that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit bias against minorities, is a great insult to the men and women who serve in law enforcement. And I want everyone to...
Yo, why this nigga got something on his head? This nigga got a whole fly on his head, Joe.
Stand with you.
Yo, y'all see the fly on this nigga head? He can't even feel it because his hair's fake.
Tried to pass a police reform bill.
Turn back around, nigga. He got a whole fly on his head. Kamala Harris see it. She laughing. He got a whole fly on his head. Look at her looking at the fly on this nigga head. She like, right bastard. This nigga got a whole fly on his head.
But we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement, improving public safety, and supporting our African American neighbors and all of our minorities. Under President Trump's leadership, we'll always stand with law enforcement, and we'll do what we've done since day one, and is improve the lives of African Americans.
Thank you, Vice President.
Cause you know that shit a wig. I don't really care if it's a wig, but you know that shit's a wig, and so he can't feel it. Like you know how you can feel your hair. You know what I'm saying? That shit's a wig though, so you can't feel it.
On what it means to enforce the laws of our country.
Like if a fly flew in your hat, you wouldn't feel that shit.
Personally prosecuted. Everything from child sexual assault to homicide.
And that shit's still there. That nigga chilling.
Stage was prosecuted the big banks for taking advantage of America's home.
Oh.
The only one on the stage who prosecuted for profit.
He's gonna get killed. Nobody's telling him. Fucking moderator ain't shit.
About an election in 27 days, where last week the President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
Not true.
That's 100% true, nigga. We saw it.
He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back.
The fly up there, you know, fly. Y'all know what flies do, right? They spit on their hands and rub that shit together in order to make shit dissolve because it's acid. And then they eat the shit after it.
Rapists and criminals. He instituted as his first act a Muslim ban. He, on the issue of Charlottesville, where people were peacefully protesting the need for racial justice, where a young woman was killed, and on the other side there were neo-Nazis carrying tiki torches, shouting racial epithets, anti-Semitic slurs.
Only one person. Yeah, it's a little empty, homie. You the only one in there.
There were fine people on both sides.
Chillin'.
This is who we have as the President of the United States. And America, you deserve better. Joe Biden will be a president who brings...
I'm checking Cash App right now to make sure you're the only one in the saloon before I start talking. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
And the fact that we all have so much more in common than what separates us.
Vice President, did somebody give you a minute to respond?
Thank you, Susan.
No, he couldn't dissolve the hair, so the nigga bounced.
You know, I think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan, is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did, comments that President Trump and I and others on our side of the aisle make. I mean, Senator Harris conveniently admitted after the president made comments about people on either side of the debate over monuments, he condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so.
He did do that, just not at the debate, but he did do that.
That he doesn't condemn neo-Nazis. President Trump has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter and son-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects and cherishes all of the American people. But you talk about having personally prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your record, Senator.
Thank you.
But I really need to make this point. When you were DA in San Francisco, when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than whites and Hispanics. When you were Attorney General of California, you increased the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank you.
blacks in California. You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to pass the First Step Act on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record speaks for itself. President Trump and I have fought for criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice President
We fought for
Pence.
educational choice and opportunities for African Americans all of our
Thank you,
lives.
sir.
And we'll do it for 4
Thank you. You know, there's no more important issue than the final issue that we're going to talk about tonight, and that is the issue of the election itself.
He attacked my record. I would like an opportunity to.
Because
First of all,
Defend that shit, bitch.
served as the Attorney General of the state of California.
Pardon my language. I shouldn't have called her a bitch. I apologize about
What
that.
our nation needs to do.
I'm really upset that she did that to us.
A Joe Biden presidency. Our agenda includes what this administration has failed to do. It will be about not only instituting a ban on chokeholds and carotid holes.
Thank you.
Not only.
Thank you, Senator.
I would like to go through.
These are points that you made earlier in the hour, and I want to talk about the election itself before we have to.
But I want to talk about the connection between what Joe and I will do and my record, which includes I was the first statewide officer to institute a requirement that my agents would wear body cameras.
What the fuck does that got to do with all the blacks she put in jail? Deflecting.
A requirement that there would be a training for law enforcement on implicit bias, because yes, Joe Biden and I recognize that implicit bias.
What does that have to do with the fact that she was putting blacks in jail for the same crimes that whites was going to jail with a higher rate? What the fuck does that got to do with that? For petty crimes.
We have done and the work we will do going forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the vice president.
She don't even regret what she did. What the fuck do y'all think is gonna happen when she wins?
And a commitment to reforming the criminal justice system of America.
Thank you, Senator Harris. And I'd like
We're gonna have that all over America.
I'd like to respond first to the question on our final topic, the election itself. President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election. If your ticket wins and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what steps would you and Vice President Biden then take? What would happen next? You have 2 minutes.
So I'll tell you, Joe and I are, I think, particularly proud of the coalition that we've built around our campaign.
He got way more than one, in my opinion.
Folks that you've ever seen in a presidential race. Of course, we have the support of Democrats, but also independents and Republicans. In fact, 7 members of President George W. Bush's cabinet are supporting our ticket. We have the support of Colin Powell, Cindy McCain, John Kasich, over 500 generals, retired generals, and former national security experts and advisors are supporting our campaign. And I believe they are doing that because they know that Joe Biden
What up, Al B?
has a deep-seated.
We're gonna have a conversation after this is over.
Democracy, and to fight for the integrity.
Hit that like
of
button,
our
everybody.
democracy, and to bring integrity back to the White House. And so we believe in the American people. We believe in our democracy. And here's what I'd like to say to everybody: vote. Please vote. Vote early. Come up with a plan to vote. Go to iwillvote.com. You can also go to.
The moderator cut him off while he was slaying her. That's not even fair.
27 days to make the decision about what will be the course of our country for the next 4 years. And it is within our power, and if we use our vote and we use our voice, we will win. And we will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing, as he did on the debate stage last week.
She didn't even say, did she say any plans? Did she say any plans? Did anybody hear her say a plan for anything? She said like 2 plans for stuff.
Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record, Joe Biden on that stage said, hey, just please vote. So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please vote.
Thank you, Senator. Vice President Pence, President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election. If Vice President Biden is declared the winner and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what would be your role and responsibility as Vice President? What would you personally do? You have 2 minutes.
Well, Susan, first and
I'm
foremost,
calling
it's
everything
women's
after this.
because
I'm calling
while
everything
Joe Biden
after
and
this.
Kamala Harris rattle off a long
So,
litany of
everybody
the
drop
establishment in
now.
Washington, D.C. and establishment that Joe Biden
Everybody
was
drop
part of for
now.
47 years. President Donald Trump has launched a movement.
Everybody
of
drop
Americans
now.
from every walk
I'm
of
calling
life.
all drops after this.
And I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record where we rebuild our military, we revived our economy through tax cuts and rolling back regulation, fighting for fair trade, unleashing American energy. We appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level. And we stood with the men and women of law enforcement every single day. And I think that movement of Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4 years. But when you talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing. When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, the FBI actually spied on President Trump.
She destroyed a lot of young people's lives over
there were
weed, yo.
documents released this week that the CIA actually made a referral
Over weed.
to the FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign. And of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what you put the country through for the better part of 3 years until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed. And then Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress tried to impeach.
We are not going to disrespect the way that woman looked. I'm putting you on the timeout, homie.
And now Hillary Clinton has actually
We're not
said
doing
to
that.
Joe Biden that in her words, under no circumstances should he concede the election. So let me just say, I think we're going to win this election. President Trump and I are fighting every day in courthouses to prevent Joe Biden and Kamala Harris from changing the rules and creating this universal mail-in voting that will create a massive opportunity for voter fraud. And we have a free and fair election. We know we're going to have confidence in it. And I believe in all my heart that President Donald Trump is going to be reelected for 4 more years.
You know, I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate, I'd like to read a question that someone else wrote. The Utah Debate Commission asked students in the state to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High in Springville, Utah. And here's what she wrote, quote, "When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news, all I see is citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are 2 candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens supposed to get along?" And then she added, "Your examples could make all the difference to bring us together," end quote. So
8th grader?
You in turn, I'd like you to take 1 minute and respond to Brecklin.
Shout out to that kid that they answered the question.
Brecklin, it's a wonderful question. And let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life. I started following the news when I was very young. And in America, we believe in a free and open exchange of debate. And we celebrate that. And it's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. But I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost in the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States. One very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the 2 of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country.
I can believe Pence does that. Trump does not do that. He a whole New Yorker.
We're going to American people each and every day. Love a good debate. We love a good argument. But we always come together and are always there for one another.
Thank you.
In times of need. And we've especially learned that
Thank you,
through
Mr.
the
Vice President.
difficulties of this year.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be that is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so troubled him and upset him like it did all of us that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle and working in a bipartisan way.
Yeah, he has a long history of helping Republicans put blacks in jail. Yes, he does.
People up.
As does she.
For their dignity. You have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering, and he has known love. And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership, and it will be because we fight for each person's voice through their vote, and we get engaged in this election because you have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote
Thank you,
to
Senator
determine
Harris.
the future of our country and what its leadership looks like.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Thank you, Vice President Pence. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We want to thank also the University of Utah for its hospitality, and most of all, our thanks to all the Americans.
Could we have a thing that this bitch never, part of my language, that this lady never does another moderating gig?
President Trump, the First Lady, and everyone who is battling COVID-19. The second presidential debate is next week on October 15th, a town hall style debate in Miami. We hope you'll join us then. Good evening.
And that is the end of the vice presidential debate right there.
Alright, so we're gonna have our own talk about this bullshit. But first, somebody already got kicked. Dope. Somebody already got kicked. Dope.
Say the wrong thing and get the bags. With the force of everything that I have. Say the wrong thing and get the bags. Oh, now you niggas salty and you mad. Niggas say the wrong thing. Cuckoo. And get thrown out the conversation. Throw up 2 fingers and tell them, please don't keep the drama away. Bye. Donate to the cause and hit the cash app. And if you ain't got it, them likes are free. Go and smash that. BBN. Hit that with a hashtag. Sick with the content. Come around and need a hazmat. Jack Frost. Yeah, you dudes need to back off. He got the work around here. Yeah, we all tip our hats off. Keep the same name. That's what you point for. But if you coming back in, put a 2.0. Big bags. And you asking what they heavy for. Foot and ass be going hella crazy with the petty wars. Good conversation, that's what we be really ready for. Good conversation like being on the bottom of a heavy whore. Nah. Why niggas be like that? Unsubscribe and tell them, yo, hey, I'll be right back. Say the wrong thing and get the bags. With the force of everything that I have. Say the wrong thing and get the bags. Oh, now you niggas salty and you mad. Niggas say the wrong thing and get the bags. With the force of everything that I have. Say the wrong thing and get the bags. Oh, now you niggas salty and you mad. Niggas say the wrong thing.
Yeah, bags. We just kicked that guy straight out the door. We don't got time for that. We hold those over here. Who the fuck is that dude? Hold on, bro. Can we get bags in the chat? Y'all don't see it, but somebody got hit with bags. Can we get all the bags? I put him on a timeout. I ain't hit him with bags. Alright, so let's get to this real quick. First thing I want to say is this, alright? Just so we can be clear, I don't really give a fuck about neither one of these people. Just so we can be clear, I don't really care about neither one of these people. So I don't want to hear I'm favoring one person over the other. I don't really care about none of these people. Before we do any of this, though, Let's give a shout out to all of the super special individuals that was doing drops during the actual jump off. You guys are the best, and I'm gonna leave it at that. All you guys are the best. I can't leave it at that. All you guys are the best. We like, comment, subscribe. I fucking love all you niggas. Anyway, let's call the drops real quick and then move on from there. Shout out to Booksmart Street Smart with the $4.99 drop. Shout out to Everett Gilchrist with the $5 drop. Shout out to Booksmart Street Smart with the $5 drop. And shout out to Al B with the $30 drop. Booksmart Street Smart pulls up in the jump off. Shout out to him with the $4.99. But guess what? You don't get no drinks with $4.99. So the whole entire debate, he was in there dry as shit, just chilling. You don't get drinks with $4.99, man. They just get you in. The extra penny get you the drinks. Everett Gilchrist comes in. He got his $5. He's like, okay. He think he's looking fly. Everett Gilchrist walks in like, he think he's looking fly. He's like, hey, baby, what you guys is doing? Everett Gilchrist is in the house. Everett Gilchrist came in doing that. Shout out to Everett Gilchrist. He upstairs. He's either getting a lap dance or he in the VIP room. That's what $30 get you. Hey, Everett Gilchrist, why you came in to jump off doing that though? Hey, Everett Gilchrist, why you came in the fucking saloon doing that though? That's what we want to know. All right, so real quick. so real quick, right? Let's just get all of this out of the way. They really didn't answer any questions. Can we just have a vote? Who thinks they actually were answering questions? Who think they was just saying whatever the fuck they wanted to say and they was not really paying the lady no attention most of the time? Real quick vote. Come on, real quick vote. Let's get our chat rate up. Real quick vote. Who thinks they were actually answering questions? Who think they was just saying whatever they wanted when it was their time to talk? Real quick, I want to know. Can we get a quick vote going? I want to know. What the hell do y'all think was happening? He threw her straight under the bus. I'm going to tell you something. That moderator ain't shit. I'm going to tell you why that moderator ain't shit. The moderator would let it when he would go hard, the moderator would cut him off. That moderator ain't shit. That moderator ain't shit. When they was going at each other, that's the main time I would have let them go. That's a fact. When either one of them was going at the other, that's when I would have gave them more time. Yo, I just want to be clear on this. When it was the points in the jump off where they was going at each other, that's when I would have gave them more time. That's when I would have gave them more time. Not when he was letting them, the moderator was giving them more time to speak when they wasn't saying nothing. First, I want to point something out. I'm going to tell you the main point where I think Kamala Harris missed. I'm going to tell you where Kamala Harris missed. She just whiffed. And the reason why she whiffed, because she was waiting to talk instead of listening to the person that was talking. Listen, I'm going to tell you a point that I believe Kamala Harris whiffed on. And the reason why she whiffed on it, she missed it. The pitch came. It was a hanging curveball. It was a, hey, what up, Almond Brown? We got Almond Brown in the house. That's Breeze. I gotta find you a new catchphrase, Bree. I'm gonna find you one. So They threw the fucking hanging slider. Kamala Harris missed. I don't know what to tell you. You want to know what the hanging slider was? They set her up perfect. You want to know what the hanging slider was? I'm going to tell you what the hanging slider was. When they talked about the money, the $1 trillion that Trump had allegedly set to the side for minority businesses, most of that money did not go to minority businesses. You want to know the proof of it? Kanye West got a piece of that. For Yeezys. How the fuck did she miss that? You want to know how she missed that? Because she wasn't there to do what she was supposed to be doing. Answering fucking questions. Listening to respond instead of listening to interpret. She missed. She missed so bad. I'm going to explain something. I'm going to explain why this is a big miss. You know how many small white businesses didn't get that money because it went to big corporations? I'm going to say that again. You know how many small white businesses of owners that is going to vote for Trump? Did I have to add that part? Did I have to add that part? That part. Did I have to add that part for you to understand where I was going with it? You know how many small white businesses that money was earmarked for that didn't get it because Yeezys got it? Because of these other big ass corporations got the money. The PPP fund. I literally dropped the video on that shit today. I literally dropped a video today talking about somebody who is in trouble right now for stealing money from the PPP fund. Kamala Harris missed. And I told y'all that in real time. By the way, Kamala Harris totally missed an opportunity to strike at Donald Trump's base. Please stop telling me how smart that woman is. I'm pretty sure she's extremely intelligent. Smarter than me. I'm pretty sure. Smarter than me at a ton of things, but she ain't smarter than me at having a fucking conversation. She ain't better than me at that. 30% freestyle, that's a fact. You know what they were supposed to be doing? The government, listen. I'm Kamala Harris, right? I'm first going to bring up, well, y'all earmark whatever trillions of dollars, but most of that money went to your friends. Most of that money went to your friends. Y'all know what small businesses are in America. You want to know how you know what small businesses are in America? They got to file taxes. So you trying to tell me that y'all earmarked money for small businesses but allowed for individuals who are not parts of small businesses to then file for them? You just paid your friends money. You just gave your money. You just gave the government's money to your friends. That's all you did. Kanye West is Trump's friend. Could we have a vote real quick? Did she miss on that or am I wrong? She missed on that? I'm wrong. She did the right thing by changing the subject to something else. She talked about something almost totally different. I don't even know what she just changed the subject. I don't know what the fuck she was doing. She missed. She fucked up. She didn't fuck up. She did the thing. She was not supposed to actually expose the fact that what was actually used. Can we have a vote real quick? Real quick, can we have a vote? And can you drop some fucking frost? She missed on a ton of shit. I do not know what this is. Oh, I know what this is. They lined her up perfect. That was a perfect lineup. They, that was like the phone ring on the fucking at the corner store. Trump went to go answer the phone. They pulled up around the corner slow. Kamala Harris had the fucking Draco, and she missed. Am I wrong? Like, am I wrong? Like, she missed. Okay, so y'all know what debates are for, right? Okay, so some people don't know what debates are for. Debates are to cut into your opponent's fan base. Debates are to cut into your opponent's supporters and to get your opponent supporters to come over to you. That's what debates are for. Your supporters are already there. They rocking with you. Debates is trying to steal the other person's. Debates are trying to steal other person's. What up, Noob? Debates are trying to steal other person's fan base. And I got the wrong fucking backdrop on this whole damn time. I'm so heated. That's what debates are for. Debates are to steal your opponent's supporters. That was the biggest opportunity to point out how in middle America, during a fucking recession, when people couldn't go outside, when people couldn't work, money was earmarked for these businesses to make sure that they don't fail. And instead of the middle class getting the money, the poor getting the money, Trump's friends got the money. She totally missed. She just... Now do you see why I can't fuck with them all? Now do you see why I don't fuck with them? Because she fumbled on the 2-yard line, homie. What the fuck? So far, Trump has had the best fucking... Hold on, can we stop everything? Trump has did the best... Wait, let's just have a vote. I want you guys to vote. Who y'all think has did... Hold on, we got some Twitter shit going on. Hold on. Who y'all think has done the best in these debates so far? I'm curious. Please let me know who y'all think has done the best so far in this debate. I'm just curious. Front row seat. It already got fucking 30. Look at the followers. This shit had to go up. I'm following too. Shout out to that shit. Look at the followers. Look at the fucking followers. What the Mike Pence, how did this happen? Oh man, y'all can't even see. Y'all can't even see what I'm looking at. I wish y'all could see what I'm looking at. This shit is not pulling up. Hold on. I'm gonna try to see if I can get y'all to see what I'm looking at real quick. God damn it, this shit is not pulling up for y'all. Sorry about that. There we go. Yo, look at this though. This shit already got 3,700 fucking followers. All of you niggas on IG with less than 4,000 subs. Think about with less than 4,000 people in your IG or your YouTube community. Think about that for a minute. This motherfucker only tweeted 4 times. What in the hell? What in the hell is going on over here? I told you I saw a fly. I fixed it. Can we get them likes up, please? The Fly has a whole Twitter page. Is Shy Murder not the best? How the fuck she found that stupid shit? We talking about the debate right now. We just watched the debate, Nervins. You could have been. I talked about it the whole show. We already damn near 2 hours in. I'm sorry, but the one guy who is not a politician has did the best at these debates. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm sorry. Trump smoked Biden. Trump smoked Biden. Kamala Harris fumbled the ball right and left. And Pence just looked like a nigga you can't trust. He looked like a whole supervillain. Look, that bailout money. Pence cannot be trusted. He cannot be trusted. Pence cannot be trusted. That nigga a whole liar. But when he talked about Kamala Harris' record, did you understand the number he threw out? He basically said, Kamala Harris, who's up here preaching about how black she is all of a sudden. Remember, she used to be Indian. Kamala Harris, who's preaching about how black she is all of a sudden, was prosecuting people of color for minor crimes at a exponentially larger rate than of Caucasian people. No, they can't be. First of all, you cannot trust Trump. Trump will sell you snake oil now. I'm not. You know how people be like, yo, that guy's a snake oil salesman. They just trying to say he's a cheat. No, Trump will literally sell you snake oil right now. Real snake oil as a cure all right now. Trump will literally do that. Yeah. Once again, I'm going to say this one more time. Trump and Pence can't disrespect their base. Y'all want them to disrespect their base. They can't do that. You understand? They can't do. I'm not going to get mad at them for not disrespecting their base. They can't do that. So if you're going to just vote for them because they don't want to denounce racists, that's their base. They literally cannot do that. What the fuck? Do you understand that your people are upset at Trump and Pence for not shooting them own selves in the foot? Because once they disrespect their base, they have no way of winning. Once they start, so I don't like the fact that they have that position, but I can understand them not disrespecting their base. No, I'm not talking about the $1,200. I'm talking about the package that they used that was supposed to go to small businesses. We're not talking about the $1,200. Fuck that shit. And nigga Pence look like a whole super villain, man. Pence look like somebody that when you walk into his office, he goes like this. Hold on, I'm gonna show you what Pence look like. Pence look like when you walk in his office, he goes like this. Because this is a cat. This is Pence. This is what Pence looks like. Come on, man, get out of here. No, it's not all in the same package, JJ. If you're gonna come in here and lie, I'm just gonna kick you. I'm just gonna kick him. Nah, I'm just gonna put you on a shitload of timeout so you can stop commenting. You just come in here to comment lies so you can throw the conversation off, right? I get you. So I'm just gonna put you on so many timeouts. It's not worth you being here. How about that? Let's go. Hey, admins, I want all of y'all to give that JJ guy like 2 or 3 timeouts. I don't want to see his face no more. Do you understand that Kamala Harris could have walked away with this even with him talking about her shit? Even with him exposing what she did to her, what she did to black people. Kamala Harris, this was a walk in the park. She made this so much more difficult than it had to be because she refused to answer fucking questions. You want to know why she refused to answer questions? Because all of her answers would have been saying what the fucking Trump and Pence is doing right now. You get it? They wouldn't have done much different. Let me explain something to you. I'm going to explain something to you real quick. I'm going to explain something to you. A president's job, one of the president's main job is to keep the public calm, to keep the public calm. I don't know. I can't think of a better way to say it. But so there's no hysteria. That's one of the main jobs of the president. Right? Main jobs of the president. Right? Just so we can be clear. So when Trump was coming and he was saying the shit that Trump was saying, it's because Trump's not a good talker. Get it? Trump's not a good talker. So Trump don't know how to talk and be like, don't get too erratic. We got this under control. He doesn't know how to do that. So instead of just, he didn't know how to do that. So what Trump is doing is saying, it's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it. Because he don't know. He doesn't have the linguistic skills to be able to say something in a way. Remember, Trump never used any savvy. Trump's a blunt instrument. He's not a scalpel. So Kamala Harris and Pence would have did the same thing. They would have just worded it different. They know this. Pence knows this. Trump's know this. You get it? No president is going to say, be scared. The coronavirus is coming. We doomed. You really think a president would have did that? No. The president would have said, don't worry about it. We got this under control. This is what we know about it right now. And they would have not have told us it was airborne. So get the fuck out of here. You would not have told us that. You understand what I'm saying? They wouldn't have told us it was airborne. Like, come on. Kamala Harris literally want us to believe that they would have told us that if she and this dude was the president, they would have told us just how dangerous the coronavirus was off the rip. You know what would have happened? Do you know what would have happened? Shout out to Al B with the $5 drop. He said, BBN, it's over. Unfortunately, Trump got it again. Laugh out loud. Done deal. Al B in the saloon getting another drink. Definitely watch our kids. That's a fact. Wait, what did Deontay just say before that? Yeah, they're gonna say she won because those are all ad campaigns. There's a campaign. The people that's on Facebook and the people that's on Twitter are all people that's watch what happened when the voting happened. Just watch what happened when the voting happened. Just watch. Yes, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they would have went on air and they would have been like, yo, look, we about to die. You think they would have did that? You fuck out of here. Do you understand? Like, see, okay, so you want to know why they can't talk about any of their... You want to know why Kamala Harris couldn't talk about any of their policies? Why Senator Harris couldn't talk about any of their policies? You want to know why? Because they wouldn't have did anything much different than what the president already did. They would have just made it feel better, I guess. You understand what I'm saying? That's it. They would have just been able to convey what they wanted to do better. They wouldn't have did any different. They wouldn't have did any different. Y'all do understand, right? In almost every situation, the Democrats and the Republicans, when it come to shit like that, would have all did the same thing because they're not the only ones making the fucking decisions. They're not the only ones making the decisions. Did you hear? Did you hear when Pence said we want to keep all three of the governments, all three of the different? Because if everybody know, there's the Congress, there's the courts, basically the Supreme Court, and there's the president, right? There's those are the three different forms of government that we have, and they all supposed to have equal power. Y'all do know this, right? Like, y'all do know this. I'm not telling you nothing new, right? They all are supposed to literally have equal power. You do know this, right? So when he mentioned that, did you see Kamala Harris's face? No president or vice president should be against the branches of government having equal power and having their own minds. No president should be against that. No vice president should be against that. That shouldn't be even a point. Tony Baker already did the fly. Hold on, we're gonna go look. You about to go look and shit. Also, drops to the Cash App or the PayPal. Hold on. We're gonna go look. We're gonna go look at Tony Baker real quick. Because you know that shit is funny. Yes, Suzette Carbuckle. I did a video on it earlier. You should check it out. Let's go see what Tony Baker said. Wait, what was I doing? Tony Baker.
Oh yeah. It's that fresh BS tonight, baby. I'm about to feast on this poop. Let me get through all this icing right here on the top and get to the poop. Come on, baby.
One more time.
It's that fresh BS tonight, baby. I'm about to feast on this poop. Let me get through all this icing right here on the top and get to the poop. Come on, baby.
That's a whole fact. It's not. It's more Tony Baker. Yo, but that's a whole fact. Usually flies get the fuck up out of there if something moved. That nigga was chilling. Could I fucking comment on anything? I haven't been able to comment in quite a long time. Let me see if I could drop a comment on here. I haven't been able to comment in a long time. They fuck my channel up. I can't never comment. Shout out to that shit. No, I'm fuck that fucking vaccine. That vaccine can eat dick. I'm looking at your comments just to make sure I ain't missing nothing good. Truth or dare, she picked dare every time. Yeah, just that guy. He just want to be in here to be a nuisance. I don't know what the fuck his problem is. How you come off a timeout and say some shit so you can get sent back? What the fuck? Yo, the fly was chilling. The fly was chilling like he was a parrot. That shit was retarded. Hey, alright, so let's just be real clear on a couple of things real quick. Let's be clear on a couple of things real quick, right? They set Kamala Harris up. She didn't knock it down. They set Pence up. Pence came with a fucking battle axe. Because once Pence got the opportunity to talk about Kamala Harris's past record, he came with a battle axe. I think they just don't know how to debate. I think they know how to debate, but I think that they're so busy playing politics all the time that they just can't debate right. And that's why Trump kills them in debates, because they so busy playing politics. That's what it is. They're so busy playing politics. Trump ain't playing politics. Trump is just, he don't like you. Let's keep it in the stack. Trump ain't playing politics. He just don't like you. So Trump showing up with all the smoke. What you want to do, nigga? That's how Trump is showing up. What you want to do, nigga? Let's go. That's how Trump's showing up. These dudes is showing up with all the fucking politics. Bree Powell said that fly took a knee on Pence's head. Yeah. Also, real quick, when they brought up, I'm gonna tell you another point where I think the moderator was terrible. The other moderator was better than this one. This moderator was terrible. The other moderator wasn't that bad. It's just that it's hard to control Trump. You understand what I'm saying? So the other moderator, you got to deal with Trump, homie. You ever dealt with a nigga that don't know how to be quiet? I agree with you, Jay Jones. Thank you for finally making a good comment. They should absolutely have been saying what they was gonna do in political office, and that's literally what I've been saying the whole debate. So thank you for repeating to me what I was complaining about during the debate, how they're not actually answering any of the questions. The fly was Kaepernicking. The fly said, "This is for everybody. That them damn police officers, the rat bastards, has been doing bullshits." Okay, why are there only chicks in my fucking... It's only chicks or my whole... I mean, I follow a lot of different people. Oh, man. Yeah. That's what Trump just flame you. Trump don't be debating. Trump be playing the dozens, nigga. Trump just be Trump don't be debating, man. So if somebody say Trump lost the debate, I'm like, okay, Trump probably lost the debate, but he looked the best. No. I'm gonna time out. Let me explain why you was put on the timeout, Jay Jones. The bailout package, the $12,000 that was given away, and the money that was earmarked for the small businesses are two separate things. Okay? If you come in here and try to act like it's the same thing, you're misleading people and you're straight lying. So you got put on the timeout. Now do what you want to do. But that shit is crazy. See, I couldn't. Kamala Harris could not have debated me. I'm gonna explain to you why. You see why I should have just kicked him? I should have just kicked Jay Jones. I shouldn't even have put him. Now you see why I just kick people and I don't be wanting to put them on timeouts, because he's not gonna stop trying to act like these two things are the same thing. Admins, I'm just gonna kick him. I don't got time for this. Bam. There you go. Bye. I'm getting too old for this shit. Yeah, I kicked him. Could we get bags for Jay Jones? Could we get bags for Jay Jones? All of the bags. I think I gave him enough opportunities and he decided this is what he wanted. I fuck with Troy Ave. Look what Troy Ave posted. This is Troy Ave posting. Nigga said, keep it real. Who full of more shit? Kamala Harris or Mike Pence? Mike Pence or Kamala Harris? I just said Kamala Harris name first because ladies first. I fuck with Troy Ave. Yeah, that dude, he was gonna have it no other way. He wasn't gonna have it no other way. That shit was retarded. Valentina said at least 5. Nah, just come on, man. We trying to have grown folks conversations and shit like that. Nobody don't got time to be going back and forth with weirdos. Nobody got time to be going back and forth with niggas doing weirdo shit. Nobody got time for that. We have a whole song dedicated to hitting niggas with bags. Let's go. This is that same fucking shit I had the other day because I don't really drink no more. I like wine. I drink some wine. I drink the shit out of some wine or some champagne. But after that debate, we're going to take a couple of swigs. Habitual line steppers. They see the line. They say, we don't care. We're going to step over said line. And then they step over said line and there's bags waiting for them. Ain't nobody got time for that shit. I'm getting too old for this shit. Nobody got time for me. Niggas talking crazy. James S is funny as shit. You gotta see James S in real life. Yo, hold on, stop everything. Yo, hold on, stop everything. Yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm sitting there, me and James S sitting across from each other, right? When we went out to Vegas, me and James S is sitting across from each other, and this nigga's realistically saying some of the funniest shit with a straight fucking face. A straight face. And when he was doing it initially, I was laughing, and this nigga ain't laughing. And I'm like, oh man, am I disrespecting him? But this nigga is saying the funniest shit with the straightest fucking face, man. Yeah, what up, Dreaming in Vegas? We gonna do this from now on, because I watch politics, so I ain't got a problem with it. But there's at least 2 or 3 times the time I mentioned with the $1 trillion thing, she should have slayed him. She didn't. She just didn't slay him. I don't have the slightest idea why. I missed what James S said. Now I gotta scroll all the way back up and see it. We ain't got time for this shit. But I'm telling you, James S, I'd be like, what? I was sitting across from him. I ain't even know. Like, he's saying shit. I'm laughing. like, am I supposed to be laughing? Did he mean to be funny? And he's sitting there talking to me straight fucking face. He's sitting there straight face saying some funny shit. I'm laughing. I don't know if I'm supposed to be laughing. Also, get your... Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Go get your BBN merch. Ah, shit. That shit hit me dead in the eye. Go get your BBN merch, y'all. Go get your BBN merch. This is charcoal. This is the charcoal from the freaking... This is the charcoal. This shit is tight. Go get your BBN merch. Green Team, BBN merch. Go cop. DZ said I smoke with him. He's hella serious. Yo, they think I'm lying. I bet you they think I'm lying. This nigga be telling jokes. This nigga be looking dead serious. Some niggas looking at... I don't know if I should laugh or not. But you know, I'm gonna laugh. I don't give a fuck. That's a fact. I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh or not. Like he's saying jokes and shit. I don't know if they're jokes, but they're funny as hell. And I don't know if I should laugh. Oh, this is not for me, man. This is for somebody else. This is not my shirt. I can't wear this. I try to put this shit on. It is not gonna. First of all, this is a woman's shirt, by the way. You don't see the cut. This is a woman's shirt, by the way. This is a girl shirt, a feminine shirt, female shirt. I mean, it's literally a female shirt. And this is the charcoal frost. Go cop. This is this mine? Hold on. No, this one ain't even mine. It's the medium. But I'm wearing this tomorrow. Well, not this one, but I'm wearing mine. I'm wearing mine tomorrow. This is mine. I'm wearing mine tomorrow. This is the frost right here. This is dope. Or you could get the OG BBN. This is the OG BBN. That shirt is not for me. That shirt is too small. I can't put that shit on. It's the OG BBN with nothing on the back, for everybody that's wondering. But we will be coming out with the OG BBN with some stuff on the back soon. You know, I know you didn't say it was mine. I didn't say that you said it was mine. You're not the only one commenting on it. Oh, man. I don't know what to tell you. Be honest with you. All of this shit is crazy. Also, these are the 2 videos we dropped today. I'll let y'all show you the 2 videos we dropped today. When y'all get an opportunity, if you haven't, when you get an opportunity, go pull up. I know a lot of y'all got an opportunity to pull up because I can see the comments on there. We need YouTube to give us the treatment. But, you know, they probably... Look, I got a George Floyd video. I got a George Floyd video that's green lit. You can't tell me that YouTube ain't fucking with us. I got a George Floyd video that's green lit. You know how hard it is to get a video green lit on YouTube that says fucking George Floyd on it? I got a George Floyd video that's green lit. You know how hard it is to get a fucking George Floyd video green lit on YouTube? I'm telling you, they hiding videos like that. That if they green lit, it's probably still hid. But this shit is green lit. It's not easy. I got a George Floyd video green lit. That shit is not easy. I'm gonna take this watch off though, cause I might start clapping, and once I start clapping, I'm gonna bust that shit. Anything else y'all want to talk about? Anything y'all want to talk about other than this shit? We can freestyle for the rest of the show. Because if not, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get off of live. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do once we get off of live. And I probably shouldn't be eating this shit this late. Of course, fruit has a whole lot of fucking sugar in it. But I'm probably gonna eat this right here when we get off of live. This is fucking fruit. And I'm thinking about it right now. I'm sitting here thinking about this fruit. Oh, I should have it for breakfast. You know what? I think I'm gonna have it for breakfast. Am I the only one that sometimes eat fruit for breakfast? Anybody else eats fruit for breakfast? You eat fruit for breakfast, you don't think about it. I'm not saying you don't. I'm saying you don't think about it. Anybody else think about eating fruit for breakfast? I eat fruit for breakfast sometimes. No, I'm not out of town. I'm in New York City. I'm currently living in a hotel. With that being said, if anybody want to send any drops to the Cash App, you're trying to get in the saloon is open. I think both of them look bad. I think they both look bad. I think Kamala Harris avoided questions better than Pence. So if you're going on that, then Kamala Harris won. But if you're going on people who actually answered the questions that they were asked, Pence answered more questions that was actually asked of him. You understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Does what I just say make sense? Pence answered more of the questions that he was actually asked. You understand what I'm saying? Kamala Harris might have looked better though. You understand what I'm saying, if that makes sense? Because Kamala Harris didn't answer any of the fucking questions. Could somebody tell me what questions Kamala Harris answered? She started off, I'm going to tell you what she did. She did the same thing Biden was doing. Starting off like she's answering the question and then say, but let me tell you about this other thing. And then waste all of her time. This is only a little bit. This is only a drop. This isn't even much. Drops are good. We might need to watch that shit again. I don't know. You're right about that, Free Nuke. That's a fact. They both look bad to me. Kamala didn't answer almost any questions. Pence answered a couple of questions. So if we're going to go off of that, then I'm going to lean Pence's way. But if we're going to go off of who looked better, Kamala Harris looked better. There's only one time that Kamala Harris looked bad. And that's when Pence started ripping into her and the moderator shut him down. Other than that, Kamala Harris looked better. That's a fact. Damn, I'm sorry to hear about that world famous Peter Method. God dang, my brother, I'm sorry to hear that you went through all of that. That's a fact. That's a lot. That's way. Well, I have not suffered to that degree in my adult life. I haven't lost people like that. You know, I feel bad for your situation, my brother. I have not lost people like that. Be perfectly honest with you, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I've really never had anybody to lose. You've just the simple fact that you've had people to lose. I've never lost any people like that. I'm sorry that that happened to you. We needed Jesus during the debates. These niggas was lying on both sides. Kamala Harris know damn well that her and Biden was saying that they should have kept the fucking, that they both criticized Trump for closing China off from America. Does anybody else remember that, or am I the only one that remembers that? When Trump closed off China from America, the majority of the fucking Democratic presidential elect people were like, Trump is doing the wrong thing. It's xenophobic. They literally used the word xenophobic. Anybody else remember that, or just me? Because I didn't even care about that, and I remember it. The nigga said we got clean air. Nigga, we got the coronavirus going on. How's the air clear? He's saying we got clear air, but niggas gotta walk around with these shit. Let me tell you. This nigga's the whole dick. What the fuck are you talking about, homie? Get out of here. Nobody believes you. Hold on. I'm looking for my mask and shit. To be honest with you. I have no idea where I put it. But we all walking around with masks on. How the hell are you talking about the air's clean? This nigga's a whole retard. Pardon me. I apologize for making fun of retarded people. And I'm not saying disabled people. I'm saying I apologize for making fun of stupid people and putting them in the same bowl as Beatz. Nigga said we got clean air. You know what everybody should have did when he said that? I swear to God, if I was on the debate stage and I was Kamala Harris and I would have been sitting there and that nigga would have said we got clean air, I would have said I would have walked clear off the stage. I would have walked clear off the stage. I would have walked clear off the stage, yo. I would have made sure everybody thought about what this fool just said. I would have walked clear off the stage. I would have walked clear off the stage. Nigga would have said, we got clean air. I'm out. I would have did the Ralph Cramden arms first. What? I'm out. Or I would have just did me. Hold on. Hold on. He didn't bring up the crime bill, but he did bring up the point that she was just putting colored people of color in jail disproportionately for the same crimes that Caucasian people was doing. And that for bullshit crimes on top of that. For minor drug offenses. Nigga said the air was clean. I would have been like, oh no. That would have been it. We had to stop everything. Niggas would have been like, I would have been like, fuck you. Fuck you. Right on here. Look. Yo, you know what? That's what I'm waiting for Trump to do. I'm waiting for Trump to straight up tell somebody right during the debate, fuck you. You know how, wait, hold on. Do you know how much Trump's fan base is going to be like, yeah. If during a debate, Trump just says right to him, fuck you. You know, if Trump says straight to Biden, fuck you. You know how, who thinks Trump fan base is going to like that? You think if Trump says fuck you during a debate, he's going to just win? Who thinks he's just going to win? If he says fuck you to Biden during the debate, you don't think he's going to win. You think that people are going to be mad at him. Yeah, she knocked up a ton of people because of weed. A ton of people. And now she's trying to say we gotta make weed legal and then take the people out of jail that she put in fucking jail. Get out of here. I don't got time for you. I don't like when people cause your problem and then try to act like they trying to help you. No, nigga, you caused the problem. Don't try to act like you helping me now. I'm not giving you no credit. Yeah, Trump is the most straightforward president we'll ever have because Trump has he don't care. I don't think he wanted to win the first election. I swear, if Trump is during the debate, fucking this guy, you know what? I think Trump and Kamala Harris should debate. Fuck Biden. Fuck Pence. Let Trump and Kamala Harris debate. Trump would rip her a new one. Hold on. If Trump and Kamala Harris debated, who you think is gonna win? Put it down in the chat real quick. Do you think Kamala Harris is gonna win, or do you think Trump is gonna win? Could we put that down in the chat real quick? And if you don't want to vote, just throw up a fucking frost. If you don't want to vote, Lori Harvey dumps future for Akon brother. Nah, well, I don't even care about that. Shout out to that though. Look, who want to see Trump? If Trump debated Kamala Harris, who do you think is gonna win? Trump or Harris? And if you don't want to vote, just please throw up a frost so we can get the chat rate up. I know who's gonna win. I know who would win. And I think they should start doing that. I think there should be one debate where the vice president gets the debate where each vice president nominee gets to go against the presidential nominee. I think they should have that. That's a fact. I think Trump would smoke her. I don't want to say this guy's line. I think Trump would murder her. I think it would be over. I don't mean actual murder, just so we're clear on this. I mean that he would win the debate. I think Trump would just absolutely. I think she would just so many L's. She might have to quit politics. That's how bad I think it'll be. I think she would have to quit politics. Later, Black Cuddy. Salute to the Black Spades. Later, Black Cuddy. I think she would have to quit politics. Because you know Trump is not gonna let her get away from putting all those people in jail. And every single time he says anything, he's gonna bring that up. You know that, right? You know that, right? Every single time she tries to make any point or say anything, Trump is gonna bring up how she put a whole bunch of people in jail for minor crimes. That's what he's gonna do. You put generations of families in jail for minor crimes, for weed offenses. You've been sending people to jail for smoking for little minor weed offenses for years. Trump would kill her. See, Trump couldn't debate me because I'm gonna bring they need to when you debate Trump, you gotta bring that same energy. Biden can't bring that same energy. The nigga harder give out on him. Nigga Biden harder give out on him if he tried to bring the same energy Trump be bringing. That's a whole fact. Don't let nobody tell you different. Shout out to Book Smart, Street Smart with the $5 drop, he says. For the OG, world famous Peter, he's solid. Book Smart. Peter, this nigga paid your way into the fucking saloon. We got Peter in the saloon now. Salute the Book Smart. Paying for Peter to get in the saloon. Sometimes it's like that. In real life, I've paid for people to get in the clubs, and people have paid for me to get in the clubs in real life, whether I needed it or not. But also when I was a lot younger than I am now, just so we could be clear. Now, you know I gotta put you on a timeout for calling her a bitch. What the hell? And you use the F word. James S. just came in. He was just looking to get timed out. Could we get and then he said fuck after it. He had to make sure. Could we get some watches? Could we get some watches and hourglasses for James S? Could we get some watches and some hourglasses for James S, please? He jumped on the whole grenade. James S. did just jump on the grenade. I'm gonna show you what James S. did. Hold on. I'm gonna show you what James S. did. This is the grenade, right? The grenade, right? Bam! That's the grenade. James S. did this. Ah! He jumped on the grenade and he stuffed it in his pants. He jumped on the whole grenade. That nigga jumped on the grenade and then he threw that shit in his pants. James S. was like, I'm with all his shits. What the fuck? Oh, man. James S. I'm not just James S, man. God dang it, James S. That nigga jumped on the whole grenade, homie. And that nigga stuffed that shit dead in his pants. He said, I'm gonna save everybody. Oh, man, no. Oh, man. Oh, man. What the fuck? That nigga jumped on the whole grenade. Wow! Did I mention he threw the grenade? Did I mention he threw the grenade? What up, BX Mel? Oh, man. He threw the grenade. That nigga James S. That nigga threw the grenade and then jumped around, man. What the fuck are you doing, homie? Nigga James S. was like this. Why? Why, James S? Why, James S? Why was any of that necessary? Such the farmer said, put hand on your chest. Why was any of that necessary, James S? Why was any of that necessary? Oh, man. What the hell? This nigga threw the grenade. This nigga threw the grenade and then jumped on it. Why? What the fuck? Oh, man, yo. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just over here being Jack. I don't know what to tell you. I have no idea, man. I don't know what to tell you. That shit was crazy. Why you do that? This shit is really funny to me for real. I don't know why he did that, man. That shit is crazy. Shout out to James S. Just throwing the grenade and then jumping on top of it. Then stuffing it in his pants. Shout out to that. Shout out to that shit. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, man. That shit bananas. Shout out to James S. He over there. He over there in the corner and shit. the kiddie table, just chilling. He cool. Why is it taking so fucking long? Shout out to James S. with the $5 drop. He said, I needed to roll one. Salute to me. nigga retarded, yo. This nigga retarded. I don't know what to tell you, man. I need a tissue, man. God dang it. Oh, man. Oh, man. What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, man. No, James S. damn sure ain't got no Reggies. I'm letting you know right now. We're not doing that. Okay? I was out there in fucking Las Vegas. James S. ain't got Reggie. James S. ain't smoked Reggie in a million years. James S. ain't smoked Reggie in a million years, man. I'm letting you know. I was out there. Yo, who else was out there? James S. don't smoke Reggie. Not even on a bad day. If I hear about James S. smoking Reggie, I'm gonna think it's a clone. I actually need one of them brushes now. Thank you. DZ smoked with him before. James S. don't smoke no Reggie. Only Reggie James know is Bush and Jackson. James might put Reggie on his spaghetti. He might do that. I don't know. He said he hasn't seen any since the 90s. I believe him. James S. be sprinkling Reggie on his pizza like that. James S. be sprinkling Reggie on his pizza like that. That's all he got Reggie for, man. Get out of here. He ain't smoking no Reggie, man. I'm letting you know, man. All of anything James S. smoked probably got 2 or 3 names. Real talk. Anyway, what do y'all think? Y'all think it's a wrap? Y'all think it? First of all, no disrespect, Mel. First of all, BX Mel just don't know. He's kind of new to the chat, so he don't know. James S. literally calls out the different strains of weed he's smoking every day. Literally. I go to Vegas. I pull up in Vegas. James S. comes out with a box, my nigga. I don't got nothing to size. A box bigger than this book bag. James S. comes out. Yo, DZ, tell me if I'm lying. James S. comes out with a box bigger than this fucking book bag. With everything in it. Weed. Fucking. Wax. Edibles, candy, and what? I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I want to go longer, but we almost in here 3 hours, and I don't know. Y'all want to stay, or y'all think we should dub? Y'all think we done? Y'all think we done? Oh shit! I forgot my computer gets hot as shit, and I knew this was gonna happen sooner or later. God damn it! Come on! Bang! Got y'all back. We still in here? Okay. We gotta go. My computer is so hot. We just stopped. So we gotta go. Because my computer can't take this no more. We've been here too long. We gotta go. So I'm gonna I don't even know if y'all can still see me. My computer's way too hot. Could y'all see me? Okay, my computer's too hot. I'm killing my computer, so I gotta go. I gotta let y'all go. My computer is baking right now. It's just my computer's too hot. I'm telling you right now, I'm touching it. Like the shit is like I could get marshmallows. So the first thing we want to do is let's see if we could call out all the drops. I'm gonna call out all the drops and we're gonna get up out of here. My computer's hot as shit. Yeah. You gonna ship me what? I got a PC fan. It's just not here. But I got one. I'm gonna go pick it up tomorrow so we don't have this problem no more. With that being said, shout out to Everett Gilchrist with the $5 drop. Shout out to Booksmart Street Smart with the $5 drop. Shout out to Booksmart Street Smart again with the $5 drop. Shout out to Al B with the $30 drop. I got a fan. It just ain't here. I'll go pick it up tomorrow. I ain't gonna have to go pick up it tomorrow. Shout out to Booksmart Street Smart again with the $4.99 drop. Shout out to Al B again with the $5 drop. And shout out to James S with the $5 drop. Also, for the foreseeable future, I know y'all like to give super chat because when y'all give super chat, it pops right up. And I like when y'all give super chat too because that's always dope. So, however you want to donate, however you want to support, do it whichever which way you feel more comfortable with. But for the foreseeable future, I would definitely prefer Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. With that being said, if you got anybody still awake in your household, please give them a hug. Tell them you love them. You don't never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Give people their flowers today. Also, when you wake up in the morning, please, let's try to get some water up in our system. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be having fruit for breakfast. It's either half or all of this because I'm not sure if I might eat some of this shit tonight. I might eat all of this shit tonight and then just buy me some more fruit in the morning to keep it a stack with you. Get some fruit. We got to start eating fruit early in the morning. We got to start eating fruit early in the morning. Stop waking up and only eating donuts and all that other shit that's just sugar. If you're going to get sugar, let's get good sugar. Fruit's good sugar. With that being said, yo, look, I love y'all. Please. Love each other, too. Like, comment, subscribe. Join the notification gang. Hashtag Bronx Bombers. Let's get it. I love y'all. Take care of each other. Hug the kids for me. I haven't forgotten about you. And that's all I got on this one. I'm out.